We scientists have a problem. We want to write about all these cool new species we found, like this one, and this one, and this one, oh, and this one too. What are they called, you ask? Well, they're all crows. Uh-oh. Looks like we made a mistake. See, problem is, they can't all be crows. So, we came up with a system that gives every single unique organism its own specific name and groups them by how they're related to each other. This system is called taxonomy, and it makes sure that we never have to get mixed up by this whole crow business ever again. Taxonomy is divided into a hierarchy with 8 steps. The higher up you are in the hierarchy, the broader everything is. At the top we have domain, then kingdom, then phylum, class, order, family, genus, and finally, species. Genus and species are often written together, and it's what you see when you look up the scientific name of something. A good way to remember all of these is with a mnemonic. My favorite one is this. Do kings play chess on Fridays, generally speaking? Now, let's look at some examples of this hierarchy, starting at the very top with domain. There are 3 recognized domains: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Keep in mind, though, that taxonomy is not set in stone. It's just the system we humans created to make sense of things in our heads. So, it is subject to change as new information comes along. Bacteria and archaea, for example, used to be combined into one big domain before they decided they were different enough to be separate. But for this video, I'll try to focus on just the main, larger points of taxonomy. Now, don't get me wrong, bacteria and archaea do in fact have a lot of things in common. They contain all the prokaryotic cells, that means the ones without a nucleus, and they are all unicellular organisms. But they are also distinct from one another. Bacteria are the ones you're all familiar with, and they can come in all sorts of forms. They can be autotrophic producers, heterotrophic decomposers, and you likely know them as causing disease. Archaea, on the other hand, are funky. They are biochemically distinct from bacteria, and they can live in almost any place, from dirt to oceans to hot springs. However, for this video, I'm going to focus more on the last domain, eukarya. Eukarya includes all eukaryotic cells. That means the ones with a nucleus. We divide eukarya into 4 kingdoms: Protista, Plantae, Animalia, and Fungi. Let's start with Protista. This includes all the unicellular eukaryotes. I'm sure you've seen an amoeba before, a funky little single-celled guy. That's a protist. Autotrophic types of protists are super important to oceans as producers. That means they make up the bottom of ocean food chains. Plants are also producers, just on land. The kingdom Plantae contains organisms that are multicellular, eukaryotic autotrophs. Kingdom Animalia, on the other hand, contains organisms that are multicellular, eukaryotic heterotrophs. Animals are therefore called consumers, because they eat food instead of making it from scratch. Our last kingdom, Kingdom Fungi, is special. These organisms are multicellular, eukaryotic heterotrophs. Not again. Let's see where we went wrong this time. Let's see. Multicellular eukaryotic heterotrophs. Multicellular eukaryotic heterotrophs. Wait a minute. Aren't fungi and animalia the same thing? No. They're not the same thing? Well, like I said, fungi are special. And while they may seem similar, they differ from animals in a few key ways. For one, they eat different. Animals eat their food by engulfing, like with a mouth. Fungi, however, absorb their food. That's why you see mushrooms growing on logs and such. They're absorbing nutrients. But keep in mind that the mushroom isn't actually the fungi. The fungi are made of special long strands of cells called hyphae. The mushroom part you see is really only the fungi's means of reproducing. The real organism is the strands of hyphae in the ground below. The mushroom's job is to release spores that blow in the wind and grow into new fungi. If you're familiar with a certain cube-based video game, then you're already familiar with this concept. Mycelium is the name we use to refer to all the hyphae of a given fungi. Fungi are extremely important to terrestrial ecosystems as decomposers. That means they eat stuff and break them down into molecules that plants and bacteria and such like to use. Now, the further down the line of taxonomy you go, the more specific things get, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here at kingdoms. Perhaps we'll get into phyla another day, but just for fun, let's try to follow our crow from the very beginning to make sure we get the species exactly right. For a little American crow here, we go from domain Eukarya to kingdom Animalia, then to phylum Chordata, class Aves, order Passeriformes, family Corvidae, and finally to genus and species Corvus brachyrhynchos. We can do this sort of thing to every animal to make sure we all know exactly what organism you're talking about, as well as how they're all related to other organisms. For instance, we might see that two of our crows from before were actually part of the same family. Now, I know this may all seem rather complex and convoluted, but taxonomy is very important in making sure that all scientists know exactly what organism you're talking about when you use a common name like crow that could apply to a bunch of different organisms. And it makes it easier to know how they're related to other birds or animals or what have you. And now you know how we name things that are alive.